Hello, Mobidictum. Super happy to be here and excited. Finally made it to Istanbul after 3 years, wanted to come here. Today we're going to talk about how to launch your game without FOMO. So no FOMO, and basically this is our topic for today. Before we get going, actually, this is the right picture. Okay, so before we get going, a little bit of an introduction about myself. My name is Danielle. I'm the VP Gaming at Supersonic, Iron Source Publishing Solution, and my team and I take studios, very talented studios, from ideation to testing, into prototyping, developing the game until it's ready and baked for the chart, so basically publishing a product. A little bit of numbers about our team. So in our 2.5 years of existence, we were able to publish over 75 games, successful games. You probably know most of them. Games like Color Match, My Mini Mart, 911, Going Balls, and many more. You can see the amazing growth from 2020 to 2021 to 2022, when we launched already 31 games in 2022, which is pretty amazing. Kudos to the team. We have 125 talented people in our team. Most of them are based in Tel Aviv, which is our headquarters, and the rest are spread out around our 7 global offices. We really believe in tech, so we're really heavy on tech. Believe in productizing every step of the publishing funnel, things that I will show you today. We believe in accuracy and full potential, squeezing the lemon out of every game we're working on and making sure it reaches the top. So what's FOMO in general? Why are we talking about FOMO, and how does it relate to game development at all? So I'll give you an example of scenario. Probably most of you guys in the room already felt it or will feel it. So you worked on a game or on a prototype for a few good months. You already made the team believe in the concept, even made a little CPI bet on the side. We all felt that. We all did that before. But the game is not quite there, so the KPIs are not there. You don't have the right playtime, you don't have the right retention, but you still want to get going. So that's a little bit of a FOMO. Should I pull a Hail Mary? Should I keep working on a game further and further? Is the next iteration, will it get me where I want? Not for sure. So how do you make sure you work on a game that you know that's going to work, and how do you make sure you don't waste any time? Because FOMO is actually can hurt you. Yeah, it can bring to sunk costs. You can lose a lot of time, and you might bring your team motivation down. That's something that you don't want to do, obviously. And actually, everything that we're going to talk about today is things that we learned in our process in the last 2.5 years. So when we started Supersonic, we thought that game development is actually 90% art and 10% science. But actually, we found out that it's 90% science and 10% art. Science in our world is data and technology. So everything we're going to talk about today relies on that thought and the fact that it's all about the data and the metrics. So how do we kill FOMO? We're going to talk about 3 exciting features that we have on our Supersonic today, things to share with you. So basically, marketability score, a clear score from 1 to 5 to give you an idea of a go, no-go for your game, exactly what we talked about in order to reduce that FOMO effect. Level analytics to use to make sure that every iteration you make is on point. And the third thing is automatic user acquisition, automatic UA. We at Supersonic have the ability to release your game without any optimization effort, and release your game to the stores to make some money, some good profit out of it while you're working on your next hit. So let's start. How do we do that? How do we kill FOMO? I keep pressing on the wrong button. Okay. So we'll start with our regular testing funnel. This is how it goes. We always start on Facebook. Facebook is still a good place to test your game and to look at overall marketability. It's a good place to learn and filter games. So this would be our first line, Facebook. It is dynamic, so you want to make sure you're looking at CPIs along the way. Some months will be higher, some lower, but basically we're looking at anything under 50 cents. Under 50 cents will be good. 25 cents is very good, and obviously so on and so forth. The next phase would be to have a better picture of other networks, right? We've tested on Facebook, we got a good understanding, our game looks good, but what about the rest of the picture? So we're going to test on TikTok and Iron Source. These two networks are very important in order to understand your potential. And basically, TikTok is the largest growing social network out there. We all know TikTok. Everything that's going viral is on TikTok. So you want to make sure that you have the understanding on TikTok. Probably 80% of the games won't make it well on TikTok. Probably something that you've noticed. But it's something that you need to know in order to move on and continue to the next phases. So you want to make sure that your game looks good on TikTok. If not, then you need to know it in advance. This is something that will help you in scale. Anything under 30 cents will look good, 20 cents on a 10 cents. Again, TikTok CPIs are also dynamic, so you want to make sure that you're looking at the right place. And now that we have our picture, we've tested Facebook and TikTok, we have the social side of things, right? So we have an understanding of how our game will work on social networks. So is that it? No, right? You want to make sure you also know, you give a projection on the SDK side. So until now, we didn't really have the ability to know how good we are on the SDK side. We know that SDK is a really, really big part of scale, and if not bigger than the social side. It was very expensive to buy on SDK networks, but now we work with ironSource in order to create marketability tool. It's called ironSource Marketability Tool, and to give studios the ability to know and project how their game will work on SDKs. So basically what we're doing is we are running on the top hyper-casual games in order to project the marketability, and we're giving it around 1,000 impressions for each game, for each source, for our app, and we're looking at IPM. IPM is installs per mil. So how many installs do I have on 1,000 impressions? On 1,000 impressions that I showed my creative, anything above 20 is good. 30 and higher would be very good. So this is how it looks like, and we're actually running on all of the top charts, which just is exactly how it works in scale. This is a cheaper way to run it, and it takes between 3 and 4 days to get results, versus regular user acquisition, which you're doing on SDKs, which takes weeks and weeks to understand the potential on every channel. So now that we have a clear understanding of the 3 networks, you feel more confident, right? But not quite yet, because you want to understand how did these different networks, these different scores that we got so far on Facebook, TikTok, and ironSource gives you a clear understanding. That's why we created the marketability score. Marketability score, as I said, is a score from 1 to 5 that gives you a clear understanding. What happens if my CPI on TikTok is high, but my CPI on Facebook was good? So how do you correlate all of these different metrics into one number? This is how we do it. We combine the 3 scores on Facebook, TikTok, and ironSource into one score with a certainty rate. So this is also something that gives you a better feeling in your stomach. Certainty rate will go up with the amount of videos spent, the amount of networks you tested on. So if you tested only on Facebook and TikTok, then you want the certainty rate to go up with ironSource. We also take under consideration the number of creatives you made for the test, so this is something that's really important to look at as well. And besides CPI, you probably noticed that there are other important factors to look into when you're looking at marketability. So we want to look at the demographic distribution, we want to look at age, we want to look at everything that happens also on Facebook and TikTok, and this is something to take into consideration that comes into our score. And this is just a picture from our platform, so you can see here the marketability score and the certainty rate, very, very clear. Obviously 4, it's something to go with, it's a strong title, and we know that we want to move forward with it. So let me give you a few examples from our recent tests. Failures and successes. How do we use the marketability score in order to move on and to test with certainty? So this is a test, a simulation decision-making game that we made with our partner Binnacle. You can see that we had a good score, a good CPI on Facebook. So maybe our old we 2 years ago would work on a game for months and months and probably wasted a lot of important time and effort. And we only realized that the game is not very scalable in other networks later on, so only in soft launch maybe. But as you can see, we had a 50 cents on TikTok, which is not so great, and we had a very low IPM. We had a 5 IPM, which means only 5 users installed our game from 1,000 impressions, which gave us a combined score of 2, not very strong. This is why we didn't continue with it, and we didn't waste any more time on it. So from V1 of the test, we didn't make any iterations, maybe like one creative one, to understand that these numbers actually make sense, and we dropped it. A little nice story with the same developer, with the same studio. We published First to Life, which is, again, you probably know. Had strong marketability, actually the same CPI as our previous prototype we looked at, but we continued testing. So we tested also on TikTok, which gave us a good understanding, 12-cent CPI, not bad at all. You can also understand why it works well on TikTok, a very viral game. And we got a 20 IPM, installs per mil, on our marketability test on Iron Source, which is not bad. This brought us to a combined score of 4. High potential, gave us certainty to continue working on the game, and we're very happy we did it, because with the same studio, if we continue working on the other game, that would be a no-go and a big demotivator. So that's why this worked really, really well for us. Another example I had to give you is actually color match. You all know the game. We got a 5 high potential. I had to give a 5 score. I had to show a 5 score to you. So basically, color match had a green light all over, 10-cent CPI on Facebook, 13 CPI on TikTok. Actually, the idea came from TikTok initially, so we projected it to be good on the social networks before we even tested it. But we didn't know its power on the SDK side. On the SDK, it got actually almost 30 IPM, which is really, really great. Gave us a 5 high potential score and the right push to publish the game 3 months after. So exactly 3 months after V1 test, we published the game. Kudos to our great partners at Garwell. Very happy we did that. Not too shabby. This was published. So let's go back to our funnel. We talked about making sure that our marketability works, getting a good score. What happens after we get the good score? So until now, we've tested with about, 5 to 10 creatives. We want to have more variation. We want to have more ad sets in order to test with, so our 1-2 successful videos won't get exhausted while we reach scale. How do we do that? Basically, here at Supersonic, we make sure that we have enough videos. We're using our advanced technology from Luna Iron Source in order to create a lot of videos and interactive end cards, which is pretty cool. We also have a creative dashboard, which in a way predicts when the creative will get exhausted, right? We use win rate, so that's the percentage of winning videos that we're using in order to predict how far the creative will go. And that's an amazing understanding you'll have, because it's not enough to have good CPI or a good score. It's also very important to have enough videos to go to war with. So that's something we're taking care of. But even if you don't work with us, I really suggest making at least 60, 70 videos before you go into war, before you go in and invest your time months and months over months on developing a game. And this is something to look forward to. So we talked about creatives, we have our marketability, we have a good score to continue with, and now comes the heavy lifting, right? Your part of the deal, bring it on, develop the game, iterate on and on until you reach the good KPIs. How do we do that? So this is actually just a picture from our platform, our internal platform, actually. You can see the amazing, this is Apapu, so accumulated playtime, right? Like your lifetime playtime of an average user. We're looking at it over 4 iterations, around 4 or 5 iterations. You can see the from 200 seconds to 500 seconds, which is almost an hour and a half. And it's a really nice picture, because actually you can see here, with every iteration, there was an uplift. With every iteration, there was something actually that improved the game, this is what we want in our iteration. We don't want it to look like that. That's why we want it to look like only going up. So how do you do that? How do you make sure you touch the right panes of the game, the right points? How do you make sure that every iteration counts and actually you work in the right way? Using analytics, right? You need to optimize your level drops. Make sure that you don't have too high drops. You want to look, this is actually a picture from our platform. You need to identify your drops. You can also compare between different builds to understand that, did I improve the level drop on this build or not, and between different cohorts. Next thing you want to do is also optimize the length of your levels. You want to make sure that it's ready for a healthy monetization. You don't want to have two of a different level length. So, oops. Here you can see the level lengths of, I don't know, level 13 to 15. It's quite higher. And this is not a good balance. You don't want to show too many mid-level interstitials if you don't have to. So you want to make sure it's pretty much balanced. Look into it. Probably soft launch would be too late because you already built the game and you already built how the level works and progression. Something that we don't talk about enough and not very sexy but needed to be said, it's crashes. Crashes happen, it happens to all of us. Sometimes we don't have quality builds, and it's definitely something to look into, specifically on Android, because we have many, many different devices, right, playing on. So in our crash-free center, you can see the percentage of crash-free sessions. You want to look into anything under 85 cents. Anything under 85 cents, something to look into, something to optimize. Again, soft launch, it's going to be too late. You're going to lose a lot of money. Your ARPU will go down. And yeah, that would be way, way, way too late. It's something to look into. I have 1 minute. That's what I have? No, can't be. Cool. So we made a good game. Sometimes it happens. But we don't have strong enough metrics in order to continue moving on. We don't have strong enough metric to say this would be the next big hit. You probably had games like that, where the marketability is good, but the in-game is not quite there, or the opposite. So we had an okay marketability. In-game is amazing. What do we do with this type of game? At Supersonic, we have the ability to launch your game with automatic user acquisition. So basically, it's the same integration process as any other integration. Very, very easy and smooth. On our side, it's minimum investment in terms of optimization. So it's running on automatically optimization, optimizing every campaign according to geo, creative, ad set, and so on. But it gives us as a team, and it gives you an opportunity to make some profits. I won't say on the side, but until you reach that hit, that next hit. So it helped all of our developers get some profits. Actually, expected profit is between $100,000 and $300,000 per title that's running on automatic UA. And this is a great way to get some juice in order to push for the next one. So maybe your game can be profitable. Definitely consider that with your publisher. 3 steps to killing FOMO. We talked about testing on all 3 channels to get a good understanding, a holistic view of your marketability power. Super important. Before you move on, before you invest a lot of time on your game, sweat and tears, look and monitor your level analytics. So super important to make sure that every iteration counts. You don't want to make iterations and just another one, another one, another one, and nothing happens. Very important. Your time is crucial. Use analytics, use level drops, use the level length in order to learn about your game. And the third thing is you should consider automatically UAing your game if you see good metrics, but not the best. So it's something to consider with your publisher. Yes, no more FOMO, right? You feel better. So thank you so much, guys. I had so much fun with you. Come visit us at our booth. You can't miss us. Thanks.